Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're unpacking the absolutely wild, record-breaking journey of Kate Bush's 1985 masterpiece, Running Up That Hill. We're going to explore exactly how a track released literally decades ago managed to completely shatter modern streaming metrics, rewrite the official UK chart rules, and capture the hearts of a totally new generation.
So let's dive right into this. How on earth does a 37-year-old song break the modern music industry? I mean, the business today is practically engineered to prioritize the new, right? The algorithms, the massive promo machines, the chart rules, they're all built from the ground up to push today's pop stars to the top. So how does a classic track not just re-enter the chat, but completely dominate it? Well, to wrap our heads around this, we really need to look at the staggering numbers behind the phenomenon.
37. It took exactly 37 years for Running Up That Hill to reach #1 in the UK after its initial drop in August 1985. When it finally hit the summit in June 2022, Kate Bush broke the all-time record for the longest time taken for a single to top the charts. It's just an absolutely mind-boggling timeline for a pop song.
But wait, because the records do not stop there. This also marked a staggering 44-year gap between #1 singles for Kate Bush. Her very first chart topper was her iconic debut, Wuthering Heights, way back in 1978. Just think about that for a second. Entire generations of music fans were born, grew up, and had kids of their own between her UK #1s.
And astonishingly, at 63 years and 11 months old, Kate Bush officially became the oldest female artist to ever score a #1 on the official UK singles chart. She actually dethroned Cher, who previously held that record at age 52 with her massive hit, Belief.
And looking at these massive time gaps brilliantly illustrates the sheer scale of this achievement. She blew past some serious long-standing record holders here. Tom Jones had a 42-year gap, and Wham took 36 years to finally get Last Christmas to #1. Kate Bush surpassed them all. This was actually the record right up until the Beatles recently logged a 54-year gap with Now and Then.
All right, Section 1, 1985, A Deal with God.
To truly understand this massive 2022 resurgence, we've got to jump back to 1985 and look at Kate Bush's original, completely uncompromised artistic vision. Now, you might not know this, but the song wasn't originally called Running Up That Hill. Nope, it was originally titled Deal with God. But back in the mid-'80s, her record label stepped in. They actually forced a title change because they were terrified that radio stations in highly religious countries would just flat-out blacklist the track for having the word God in the title. It was a rare creative compromise for Bush, but, she didn't want the song she'd spent 2 whole years crafting to go unheard.
So the crucial point of the lyrics, as Kate Bush herself explains, is this profound emotional concept. It's kind of like a flip on the classic Faustian bargain. Instead of making a deal with the devil, she's talking about making a deal with God to swap places with her partner. Why? To truly understand their pain, to clear up the insecurities and misunderstandings that just plague human relationships. It's an incredibly heavy, deeply empathetic message. And she brought this heavy emotional weight to life using her mastery of the Fairlight CMI digital synthesizer. This was an early, phenomenally expensive piece of digital gear, and Bush was genuinely one of its pioneers. Instead of sitting down and composing on a piano, she found that the unique, otherworldly sound of the Fairlight immediately conjured up inspirational imagery. That relentless pushing and pulling synthetic beat you hear right at the start, that's the very heartbeat of the song.
To visually match that serious tone, she deployed a classical interpretive dance routine for the music video. Now remember, at the time, MTV was exploding with these highly produced, kind of trivial lip-syncing videos. Bush completely rejected that trend. Where in traditional Japanese hakamas, she and her partner performed a dramatic, archery-inspired dance to express raw emotional connection. It was such a bold, artistic choice that MTV actually refused to play the video in its heavy rotation. No way, right?
Moving on to Section 2, The Stranger Things Connection.
Let's fast forward almost 4 decades and see how this pure 1985 artistic vision turned into a global phenomenon through the Netflix hit series Stranger Things. In the show's 4th season, which is set in 1986, the song is introduced as the absolute favorite track of the character Max Mayfield. But here's the thing, it isn't just background music. It serves as a literal and emotional lifeline for a young girl battling profound trauma, grief, and isolation. The song actually saves her life within the narrative of the show.
The absolute genius behind this pairing was the show's music supervisor, Nora Felder. Notice how perfectly she identified the thematic overlap here.
Bush's lyrics about needing a deal with God explicitly mirrored Max's desperate internal need for a miracle to climb the terrifyingly difficult hills of her own life. It wasn't just some catchy 80s track thrown in for nostalgia, it was the exact emotional vocabulary the character lacked.
And wow, the global fan reaction was instantaneous and intense. It was so massive that Kate Bush, who, by the way, is famously private and almost never gives interviews, actually issued a statement on her website expressing complete astonishment at this organic, fan-driven surge. It was this beautiful, direct relationship between the show and the audience, functioning completely outside the normal, manufactured music business machinery.
Okay, Section 3. The power of synchronization.
Now, what's really interesting is how the modern industry labels what just happened. They call it music synchronization, or sync for short, and it's completely transforming the economics of music. When we look at the industry data from 2009 to 2022, we see a skyrocketing number of new movie and streaming productions matched perfectly by exploding US sync revenue. As content production grows, so do the incredibly lucrative opportunities for discovering older, reused music.
Academic researchers have actually studied this sync effect, and the data proves that a spark from TV synchronization, like that pivotal scene in Stranger Things, combined with digital discovery tools like Shazam, causes a massive chain reaction. A viewer hears the song, Shazams it, and then instantly goes to Spotify. At its peak, this effect drove 575,000 daily Spotify plays in the UK alone, and over 6 million globally for Kate Bush. Basically, reused songs with heavy exposure are exponentially more likely to hit the global charts today.
Which brings us to Section 4, Breaking the Streaming Rules.
You see, going viral on television wasn't the only hurdle for Kate Bush. To officially conquer the UK charts and claim that #1 spot, she actually had to defeat the modern streaming rulebook. Here is where the mechanics of the charts get super fascinating. The UK official charts use something called an accelerated decline rule. It was originally introduced to prevent the charts from getting clogged up by old hits, ensuring new tracks can shine. This means a brand new release earns 1 chart sale for every 100 streams. But an older catalog song? It needs to be streamed 200 times to earn that exact same single chart sale. It's a massive built-in disadvantage.
So, to overcome this severe mathematical penalty, her record label EMI successfully requested a manual reset waiver. This is a very rare process allowed under exceptional circumstances. The second the chart officials granted this waiver, the playing field was leveled. Kate Bush's streams were instantly doubled in chart value. This single administrative move was the final catalyst, rocketing her past massive contemporary artists, like Harry Styles with As It Was, straight to #1. This leaves us with a truly fascinating question to ponder. Now that the precedent is set, and the sheer power of streaming waivers and music sync is undeniable, will this forever alter the balance of the charts? Are we going to see a constant flood of legacy artists battling today's pop stars? Or is the perfect storm of Kate Bush's genius and Stranger Things storytelling just entirely in a league of its own? Think about that the next time you hear an 80s synth line in your favorite new show. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep your ears open.